Good afternoon, guys. I wanted to talk briefly about the business of restrictions. This is a word I think is used incorrectly sometimes to describe the situations with some individuals gambling with betting companies, claiming to be restricted on their activity. Um, it, in this regard, we've got to look historically. In the past, one used to have to phone your bookie to find out what price they were, or visit a betting shop. And then, if you were involved in a gamble, perhaps you would have to phone up your friends and explain to them why they should be backing a horse or a dog or something like that, or a group of friends. And this is very time consuming. And of course, placing the bet was also equally time consuming. There was no internet in those days, so you either had to phone up your bookmaker and get a bet on, which is one-to-one contact, or alternatively go to a betting shop or maybe to a racetrack to get your bet on. That's all extremely time consuming. And of course, in those days, there was no internet. So it was very difficult to get a variance on what prices everybody was in life, to appreciate where to find the best market prices. There was no odds checker or odds checking tools as there are these days. There were no betting exchanges at that time, and therefore it was impossible to accurately predict, as we can do today, the price movements of horses or dogs on betting exchanges using suites of betting related tools that one can utilize today. So you can't accurately forecast price movements in the golden days of betting. Importantly, there were, for example, no WhatsApp or text groups where one individual could notify many individuals as to when to hit the market on a particular selection at a particular time. This never used to exist in the past. I don't know when texting came about or WhatsApp, but it's a fairly recent develop in terms of betting. But that allows one individual to inform many individuals as to what time to hit the market. And that is a significant advantage on betting companies. And of course, you could add to that the huge variance of markets that betting companies now offer. I mean, companies like my own will have literally thousands of betting opportunities available at any one moment on our website. And of course, we are often rather naively accused by punters that we should be able to control all of those markets at all times. So imagining some situation where we had hundreds of traders literally sitting on top of every market every day, that's just unrealistic. We tend to ignore such criticism, of course. What's changed is the ability, therefore, to both influence the market and predict the price movements. In such an environment, you will encounter groups of individuals who hitting the market in almost 100% of cases betting at excessive odds. They're betting at the wrong prices all of the time. Perhaps not all of the time, but the vast majority of the time. In short, the bookie is being asked to service individuals who can effectively lock in a profit. Because if you gave me, if I could get a bet on anywhere, which these days I cannot, thanks to the Gambling Commission, if you gave me the wrong odds all of the time, I will beat the market. I will beat the bookie. It is easy to do that. If you're betting at the wrong odds, you will lock in a profit. You'd have to be almost a complete fool not to be able to do that. So what's changed for such individuals utilizing either betting related tools, exchange related tools, or WhatsApp groups and things like that, is the possibility of losing long term. There's no risk to such bettors, and that's a fundamental change in the betting environment. There needs to be, therefore, in my view, a clear understanding on restrictions and what they really are. A restriction, in my opinion, is limiting how much somebody can win off you. That's intended for the average punter. These are the types of individual who sometimes beat the market, get a better price, and sometimes do not. They shouldn't, in my view, be restricted, or at least they should be always able to have a reasonable bet with a betting company. That's where I would agree with punters who sort of say, well, if you can get a £200 bet on a FOBT machine or a spin of roulette, you should be able to have £200 on a horse. I would agree with that, those kind of points for those type of customers. But if you're profiting by betting in the absence of risk, don't expect the bookie to accommodate you under the old PALS Act as if you are a normal routine punter as they used to be in the past. And I think that's what I would say many people seem to falsely believe, that they are a traditional punter, because in my view you cannot act like a punter because you're no longer risking money. And if you're not risking money, you're not a standard punter. You're a businessman. You're running a business just like we are. In many cases, should you wish, you could also lock in a profit with a betting exchange, for example, by arbing your bet. I'm not saying that everybody is involved in that. Most people these days are not, because betting exchanges have utterly collapsed in the last couple of years due to their own policies. But some people can lock in a profit if they want to these days by beating the market consistently. And that, of course, goes once again to my argument about the lack of risk for such individuals. If you're profiting by betting in the absence of risk, don't expect the bookie to accommodate you. I view telling such individuals that they're held to board prices as in no way a restriction, since individuals running business via my platform are not in the business of risk. And they can still get a decent bet on. And this is a very important point, because in my business, policy is for people who constantly beat the market. And we're talking about in excess of 90% of the time. And yes, it's possible. These people can beat the market, beat the odds in 90% of cases. This is not routine. This is not normal behavior. This is not normal in any financial market to be able to forecast which way the market goes in such a compelling amount of wagers. They can still get a bet on with us, but what we do, where we differ in opinion with such individuals, is they are being held now to the correct market price. Now, how do we do that? Simply, we will put an individual who is constantly beating us on early morning prices, for example, onto board price only. In other words, the 10 to 15 minutes before a race where the market is more accurate on horses and dogs, and we will hold them to that price. And in a very extreme cases, and this is very extreme, we will hold them to starting price only. But that would be a very extreme example. Most people who are involved in the making a business out of betting will be held to board price only with my firm. But importantly, these individuals will still be able to back a horse or a dog to win an appreciable amount of money. The difference being they will be backing it at the correct market rate. They will be backing it at the correct price. And that has got to be sensible and a normal behavior for any business. If you're constantly buying a product at well under the market rate and paying a lot less than you should be paying to invest in something, then that has to be countered by the betting firm. I'm afraid it will be. So if you're in the business of betting and profiting it by knowledge, by WhatsApp groups, by betting tools and everything else like that, my message to you is to get serious. Nobody's restricting your bet, because you can still bet with me. You can still get your bet on. And it is not correct to say that I should lay you 8 to 1, 4 to 1 chances every day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. That's what I should do just because you are a punter. You are not a punter. You are a businessman trading on my platform. So this, to be clear, is not restricting people. If you can still get a decent wager, and my customers, pretty much all of them, can get a decent wager on my platform, and they are forced to, and everybody is betting at the correct market rate or around about the correct market rate, accepting that some people will, get lucky on the odds and that kind of thing. And that is routine behavior. So if you are held to board price and you are running a business effectively off my platform and have detailed knowledge, however it is done, that allows you to beat the market in a compelling number of wagers, and you can still get a bet on at decent money, and you are held to board price, you're not restricted. You are just being managed. You're just being offered a fair market rate to a fair bet for your business. All right, guys, I know you will kick this around a bit. You may have to watch this twice, but the bottom line is, I think we're being more than fair with people, and I disagree with such individuals who say they are restricted. You're not restricted if you're being held to the correct market rate. That's a fallacy. Have a great afternoon, guys. It was a wonderful derby and a superb Oaks, and I'll see you all at Royal Ascot, where all of my bettors who finish second will be receiving a £5 free bet just for betting with us in the ring at Royal Ascot every day, every race next week. A free bet for everybody that finishes second. Why not use us? Thanks.